When you're ready. Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is the Community Consolidated School District 46 Board of Education meeting for Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. We are here at Frederick School on Frederick Road. So I need a call to order and a roll call, please.
Weedman.
Here.
Mack.
Here.
Braden.
Here.
Albert.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
And Nash.
Here.
Okay, that gives us our quorum. So if we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Next, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Miller.
Aye.
Mack.
Aye.
Albert.
Aye.
Weedman.
Aye.
Braden.
Aye.
And Nash.
Aye.
Okay. Next is any public comments. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments? No? Okay. Next would be board reports. I guess I can start it off. Welcome to Dr. Amy Gluck. Welcome to the district. For your first board meeting, we rolled out the red carpet somehow. All new chairs and desks. So, but thank you and welcome. Looking forward to working with you. Anyone else? Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to report that the Community Engagement Committee met yesterday, and we've set a date, although we're not reporting that date. I just remembered, sorry. Okay. But I do want to add a thank you to Adam and his team for their care of our outdoor spaces, because the other night I enjoyed some peace and solace in the Meadowview outdoor classroom. And in these times, it's nice to have those types of places for that quiet reflection. So thank you to your team.
Christy? Stephen?
I did have the CEDAL board meeting last week, or what I thought was last week, but maybe it's 2 weeks ago now. The one that was rescheduled because we didn't have a quorum the last time. So we did meet, and just some regular updates as usual. They are seeing some increases in enrollment in CEDAL after the dips that were experienced due to COVID. There is a new playground that has been installed at the Fairhaven location for CEDAL. And both myself and Carrie McHugh from the Wakanda School District have agreed to serve another year on the governing board committee. So I'll continue that process with them. So that's my update for CEDAL.
Okay. Christy? Nothing? Tamika? No? Okay. We are up to the superintendent.
Good evening. Well, I would like to start by commenting that the victims of the Highland Park July 4th shooting continue to be on our hearts and minds. There are, certainly so many members of our work and school and district community that have connections to that terrible event. And as I recently heard someone say, even if we didn't, of course, when one community is affected by something so horrific, we're all affected. If anyone's looking for a way to help, the Village of Vernon Hills will be sponsoring its quarterly blood drive this Saturday from 9 to 3. And you can get yourself signed up it's just, I can't say it, vitalant.org, vitalant.org, to register to donate blood. So that's a way that many people have been showing their appreciation and supporting the loss that has happened in Highland Park. And I mention that specifically because it segues, very sadly, into an event that our administrators experienced this past week. Our administrators went through ALICE training. So, Board, you'll remember that in the spring, we shared that in the upcoming school year, our school district will be providing training to all students and staff regarding what they would do if they were ever faced with an active shooting situation. And that training is based, as you heard, on the concept that individuals are empowered to make the best decisions for themselves, given the circumstances. And sometimes hiding is the best option, but very often running from the site is the better option. And so the first step in that process was training our administrators and our deans and a few other members of our teaching staff, all of those folks who will be involved in training the rest of the staff, which will occur in the fall. This training was scheduled a couple of months ago to occur just last Thursday and Friday, so only 3 days after the event in Highland Park. This made for a very difficult training, of course, but the events preceded it certainly highlighted the importance of making the change to the protocols. And I specifically want to thank Dr. Diaz for setting up the training, which was really done beautifully, so thank you. Moving on to much better news, I do want to also thank Mrs. Amy Gluck. We're so glad to have you. I have to tell you, she hit the ground running, and amazing things are already coming out of that office, and a lot of things to be shared in the future. Also this evening, the board will be voting on the contract of Dr. Scott Clay, who is sitting out in the audience today. So Dr. Clay is being recommended as the interim director of technology. And although, board, I know I've explained this to you, I thought in the open meeting it would make sense to explain why we're going the direction of having an interim director this year. As you know, Mr. Chris Vipond left us very late in this season, or I mean, he just left us 2 weeks ago, but he didn't announce that he was going to be leaving us for another school district until pretty late when he was hired by another school district. And so we just didn't find the right person to move forward in that department. And board, as I've expressed to you before, it's incredibly important for our school district to hire the best and to continue the wonderful work that Mr. Vipond did. And so rather than moving forward with a candidate that wasn't a match for us, we're going to wait. We will go looking again late in the fall, maybe early in the winter, but in the meantime, with the hopes that you will be offering a contract to Dr. Clay, he will help us out this school year as we bridge the gap into next school year. And I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Diaz to talk about our international teachers.
Yes, so this year we have 3 international teachers coming, and they're arriving the week of the 25th of July. One will be going to Prairie View, Meadowview, and GMS. And our teachers who were here last year have stayed, and then we'll have 2 teachers completing their 5th year cycle with us this year.
Thank you. And Mr. Halpern, if you will give us a very brief update about what's happening in our buildings right now.
Absolutely. I could be here all night if I don't. So I'm going to try and make this as short as possible just to let everybody know. As everybody's aware, starting after the graduation, the Operations and Maintenance Department went straight to work on our buildings and grounds to ensure that at the start of the school year, everything's ready for a nice, safe working environment for the kids and learning. Let's see here. For the first time since the gym was built over at GMS, we had the luxury of getting the floor refinished and sanded and the new logo put on it that we have picked out. It looks great and will be shown to everybody shortly here. The Park District has had the joy of going out and playing on it already in the past week. They also, big thank you to them for helping us out with half the proceeds to be able to take care of it. Previously at the last board meeting, I updated the board on my strategic plan goals, and a part of that was the replacement of the rooftop units over at GMS. They had been on the docket for almost 11 years, and we're taken care of. We are about 90% done with it. Minor tweaking on the building automation side of it to ensure that everything's up to snuff, and we've got the perfect air quality for it. Also over at GMS, the washrooms that are being turned into ADA compliance are about 60% done, with a completion date going into the beginning of August, the first week of August. Let's see, over at Avon School, the removal of the boilers and the pumps in the whole entire boiler room, along with the upgrading of the building automation system, has started and should go to just about the start of fall time, given the time frame on all the equipment and the arrival of it. But we are moving along smoothly and expected to be done on time. Also over at Avon, we replaced all the rest of the partitions in the washrooms that had been there for about 70 years since the school was built in the 50s, and were rusting away. It was a project that was started pre-pandemic that we were able to complete the rest of this year. Frederick School here, the roof is nearing completion. We only have the flat surfaces left to do on it. We were able to save the district approximately $200,000 by doing a thermal imaging at dusk and seeing how much moisture is below the surface on the flat roof. We only had to replace 13% of the insulation. So we were able to go ahead and recoat the roof, and it saved us tremendous amount of money by doing that. Along with it, it gives us another 20 years life expectancy, and in 20 years, we'll be able to go ahead and recoat the roof again without having to replace that end of it. As you walk around the district, you'll see multiple sidewalks we've had raised. I had what's called mud jacking done, and it brings it up so they're not tripping hazards. We've replaced a bunch of slabs throughout. In the coming week, we are doing a kickoff meeting for the cameras over at GMS, in which today they started the servers, putting in the servers for it, so we will start the cameras in the next week or two. And you know, doing these jobs is not just for the companies that we brought in, but the O&M team has completed many tasks so far, from cleaning our kitchens that ran for 2 years due to COVID just about every single day. We've started to pull everything out, and we got them completely cleaned, and in that process, we managed to set off the fire alarms twice.
Yes, you did.
Yes, we did. But, you know, they've all been cleaned and taken care of. The O&M team has also replaced one of the AC units, and we're working on the second one for our server room. We actually did it in-house, which was another big savings on our side of it. We repaired a bunch of leaking pipes throughout the schools, deep cleaned areas from the lockers and the locker rooms. You know, these are just some of the handful of projects that we do inside. Like I said, I could be here all night long. But please keep in mind that none of this is possible without the hard work and determination of the O&M team, every single person on there. I look forward to giving you guys a complete update when everything's complete, probably about September time, with pictures.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. While updating the Avon bathrooms, are you also updating the signage, or will there still be signs outside that say toilet room?
We are updating those.
Excellent.
But those are going to come in a little bit, because currently, right now, Mr. Cortez is painting the hallways there. So when those are done, we are going to do that too.
Okay, thank you.
Put those in a museum.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would love to have one of those just for, you know.
So you will
Posterity.
absolutely, I've got the perfect place for it.
Perfect, thank you so much. All right, moving on. But before we leave Adam entirely, I will also comment that at our next board meeting, we are expecting to be in our brand-new space, the Falcon Room, where we will not have the superintendent being blinded by the sun as I speak right now. There won't be that level of sun in there. It's going to be a beautiful room. The floor is gorgeous, and we can't wait to share it with you. So we plan to be there next time. And finally, the last piece of the superintendent's report is that I have extremely exciting news to share about a grant that we were a part of writing and that has been awarded. So back in, I'm going to say, middle to late May, does that sound right, Steph? Yep. Middle to late May, I was contacted by Dr. Michael Karner. He is the superintendent of our ROE, asking if we would like to participate in the writing of a grant for a program called Parent Mentor Program. Even this name of the grant sounds right, and it's a grant that we wrote along with another school district and has been awarded. And the basic concept is that we will be able to train 8 parents in our school district to work as mentors and assist teachers in classrooms. We're going to be using our 2 Title I schools, so that's Avon, or 2 of our Title I schools, Avon and Prairie View, and probably have 4 parents in each one of those schools. I can't think when I'm blinded. And those folks will work 2 hours a day in our classrooms. They won't be working in the classrooms of their own children, so it'll be other classrooms. There'll be training provided for them, and the concept is really a way for parents who would perhaps not otherwise have opportunities to be involved in schools, have such opportunities. We are also looking at it as an opportunity to grow our own. We've heard that topic, or that concept before, so we want to give people training so that perhaps they too may choose to enter the field of education. We are extremely excited about it, and we have just this much information right now. So we're looking for lots more information. I had a meeting with Dr. Carner just today. I'll be meeting with him again next week. So it'll take a little while for us to get this off the ground. The last piece I want to mention is that the parents involved will receive a small stipend for their work. So it's mostly volunteer work, but they do receive a small stipend for it. So we're glad that they would be honored in that way. And that's the end of the superintendent's report for tonight.
Okay. Next, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the addendum to the personnel report we received earlier.
So moved?
I'll second.
Braden,
Aye.
Nash,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. Okay, next we're moving on to action items. The first action item is I need a motion to approve the board policies that are listed on the agenda. These are the ones that I'm having trouble looking too, that the policy committee talked about in their open meeting, and we also discussed at the last board meeting. Most of them are kind of legal updates. So I just need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Oh, is it possible to ask a couple questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to talk about that 470 resource conservation policy. I forgot to ask some questions last time. So first off, I was wondering if we could address, well, there was the time frame given of reducing solid waste before July 1st, 2020, and I think we should change the policy to have a different year mentioned and maybe think about what we want it to address. And I have multiple ideas about that, but one being, I don't know if anybody here has heard of the initiatives from the UN, from our US and other countries, and even in our region, 30 by 30. So preserving 30% of our wetlands, woodlands, and grasslands by the year 2030. We have public spaces and kind of park grounds. We have habitats around our schools, and there may be partnerships or cooperation with the different entities that we are already partnered with we could just sort of address the loss of biodiversity around the world, which affects our own lives and health and well-being. So that's one idea. I wondered about looking at some of the information that the students shared at the Student Environmental Council shared when they presented to the board back in May. So these are I just wanted to talk about some of these things.
Can I make a suggestion for that? Can I, because the update on this one was simply a legal reference update, can I make a suggestion that we approve it as is, but we review it maybe more heartily as a board as part of the board policy committee, we can always, like, review it anyways, right? We can bring it back up at the board policy committee, we can reapprove it later, once we have everything dialed in that you're looking for. So that would be my suggestion on this, is just, we'll approve what we have, because this was only a legal update, and then invite you to come to the board policy committee meeting, and we can discuss the board or the policy as a whole a little more in depth. Would that work for you?
That would work for me. Is that something that can happen?
Shortly?
I don't know the cycle. Is it, it's not like 3
Yeah,
years from now?
No, we can make
or
it happen
something?
at any time.
Oh,
So
okay, great.
It's not like
Okay.
we have to wait a year for it to come back up. We can make it happen
Okay.
at the next policy committee meeting. So
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
that
if that works for everybody and, okay, wonderful.
Thank you for bringing that up. I had a similar question, and I love the idea of having a more robust conversation about it, specifically about the periodic review and what that would entail in terms of what's the impact on staff, what's the impact on the calendar, but would love to know if it, my understanding is, per your response in our memo, that this policy was written in 2014, so that there's probably some good information, and I know you are looking, or someone is looking into what other schools are doing, but since it's been just about 10 years, there's probably some good information. I would love to be part of that conversation also, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
that work? Okay. So we had a motion. I need a second.
I'll second. Weedman,
Aye?
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Nash,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
and Albert.
Aye.
Can you just make a note to put that on there? Because I know in 2 weeks I'll probably forget about that.
I got it.
Okay. Okay, so next I need a motion to approve the resolution for hazardous road conditions. This is a thing we do annually to, it's for busing routes, and which ones are hazardous. So like any kids trying to cross Route 83 to come to Frederick, 83 is a hazardous route, 120 is a hazardous route in front of Prairie View, et cetera. So those are the type of things that we're just approving those as hazardous routes. We do this every year. I don't think the list ever changes, so.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Braden,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye?
and Nash.
Aye.
Okay. Next, I need a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 tentative budget and publish a legal notice for public hearing of the fiscal year 2023 tentative budget by 9/7/22. This is also another annual thing that is required for us to do. And I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Albert,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Nash,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. All right, next is a motion to approve school treasurer bond from Liberty Mutual. That is bonding our CSBO for the office and for his work. It's another annual thing we have to do. I think we've got a theme going here.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mack,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye?
and Nash.
Aye.
Okay, one non-annual thing is a motion to approve Dr. Scott Clay as the interim director of technology, as we were introduced to him earlier tonight. And Dr. Glickman gave her explanation.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Miller,
Aye.
Nash,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. Welcome to the team. And one last item is the motion to approve the purchase of a district vehicle for the 2022-23 school year. Would you like to explain that one a little bit?
Last year, if you recall, we replaced 4 of our vehicles due to the age of the vehicles as they were rusting away and 20 years old. This one is second to last of all of our older vehicles so that we can keep them on a schedule and get our best value out of them. This vehicle that we are looking to replace would be a 2006 Dodge that needs about $15,000 worth of work. It currently has no brakes and is sitting there. We're looking to replace that and just keep the cycle going from this point on.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for that? Did you hear the question? Was it electric? No.
No, it is not.
I don't think it was, well, first off, we normally don't have an exchange back and forth, but I'm going to guess it wasn't one of the available options for it. I don't know, I can't speak for you.
So currently, at the time, it is not an available option for us. The time frame to be able to utilize the vehicles for us is not conducive, and I say it in the fact that we plow our own district, and to be able to push the snow and utilize it for a 6, 7, 8-hour period of time, we could not do it.
Okay. That's okay. I'm sorry, did we have a?
We haven't had it yet,
I'll
no.
make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Nash,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. Unfinished business, we currently don't have any. Next is new business. The first one is a discussion of student recognition and presentations.
Would you like me to give some background information? Sure. Well, administration is recommending to the Board of Education that we find some ways to be publicly celebrating our students and celebrating the great work that they do. So what we would like to begin doing, and I believe happened with this board in years past, but perhaps not for many years, is first of all to habitually bring student groups in when they have done something out of the ordinary so that we can recognize them for that extra activity that they've done or extra work that they've done. And in addition, we'd like to bring small groups in now and again to do presentations for the board. So when there is something perhaps academic that a group of students has done and the principal feels like this might be something that the board would like to see and learn more about, we'll bring groups of students in to do that. So this is just a way to bring the work that you all do on behalf of our students back to you so that you can see the results of that work.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? We're all,
I just have a comment. I noticed in the consent agenda that there's been some art educate, I think it's the Art of Education, which is an online art professional development program that I've taken some classes in and love. So I'm just calling dibs. I would love to hear from our art students. So whenever it's convenient, that would be fun to see.
Great.
any other questions? Okay. Good?
Good?
Okay.
Great, we'll move forward, we'll do it.
Yep.
We'll do it, okay.
All right, so the next is a discussion regarding a board workshop. Dr. Glickman and I had a conversation with Laura Martinez from the ISB. Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. And now that I can actually see without sun in my eyes. We had a conversation with her a couple weeks ago regarding possibility of doing some workshops. We spitballed a few ideas of what might work for us. There was a couple of suggestions that had been given to her earlier that we kind of walked through to find out if we're in need for those couple of workshops. With her help, we kind of pared it down to two that she could probably see us doing. The first one being the Reflect, Respond, and Recover workshop. I'm going to give you the description. I think you've all seen the description already, though, but for everybody else, the The governing team will reflect on challenges related to recent crises. You have experience to find areas where the challenges were successfully met, and identify areas that need further response. Your team will develop an action plan to help the district recover and continue on the path of success. So part of this we were talking with her about was an example would be how we went through the COVID-19 changes, right? It was a perpetual change for the last 2.5 years, and I've got a feeling there's probably going to be still more coming. But it would help us sit back and reflect on what we did right, what we did wrong, what we might be able to do differently in the past. So that was one of her suggestions. And then the other one, which is, always almost at every board meeting we have discussion about, is working on our community engagement. That was the other workshop. She didn't really have a great description in the flyer that she sent us, but she said it was also in the middle of being reworked because they were expanding part of it, and I forget which part was going to be expanded. So they're working on reworking a part of it so that it was a little more all-encompassing for some aspects. And she said that might be a good option as well. So those were the two that she was talking about that were probably best suited for us at this time if we wanted to go down that route. So the next part of this would be needing to discuss those, two things. We need to discuss if we want to have a workshop as a board, right? We didn't really have, there wasn't a lot of discussion back and forth about having a meeting or not, or if we have the, as Stephen likes to say, the bandwidth to go through a board workshop. And then if we do want to do that, which one? So I'm open the floor for discussions for anybody to give your opinions or your thoughts on this, and we can go from there, and then we can kind of decide if we're going to move forward.
Jim, I just wanted to add one thing.
Sure.
Unlike self-evaluation workshops that the board has been involved in, which are done in closed session, all of these other workshops are done in open session, in public session.
Sorry. Mr. Weedman, what's the time frame that we're looking to have this done by? Is it by year end? Like, are we time bound?
Some of it would depend on her schedule, but I think when we initially talked to her, I think we talked somewhere around October, November, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
With us being in the middle of negotiations, starting up a school, and everything else that's going on.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm thinking about III as well.
yeah.
So perhaps if we did maybe one of the two as opposed to both.
Yeah, I think we were looking at one.
Okay.
It was a matter of picking one,
Okay.
if we were going to do one.
I would be in favor of the reflect, respond, recover, simply because I feel like, and I believe you opened with that, Mr. Weedman, that we've just been in this perpetual state of managing some form of crisis or another. So I think that would be good for all of us to lean into the 3 R's to make sure that we're performing and have the necessary support to continue to carry this important work forward.
Okay. Chris, who would like to weigh in next? You want to weigh in?
I am in support of doing a board workshop, would be happy to invest time in that, and had conversations with Laura as well, and also have the results from the survey that I sent out to everyone, if that's of interest.
Okay.
And one more thing, I'm curious if you talked about the monitoring and why that wasn't a good fit for, or wasn't a recommendation.
Yeah, we did. My goodness. She commented that well, I'm just going to read aloud the language in the monitoring one. It says, hold on, learn and implement a monitoring process for your board policy, board vision, mission and goals, and operational parameters, and board and superintendent relationships so you can effectively monitor district performance. And so what she explained is that very often people will read the title, Monitoring District Performance, and think that this is about identifying metrics, but really it isn't. It's about just the board identifying how well that they are monitoring their own policies, that kind of thing. So she felt like the title of it is a bit misleading and might not bring the board to where you want to go.
Gotcha.
And we had talked about how we had started making the change where when we get a memo from staff that it has the board policy tied to it, or if we have, or it's tied to the strategic goals, that everything is being tied together now, and that was all part of that monitoring type of process that they would be going over. So we're already doing the bulk of what that workshop would kind
Would
of be
entail.
doing. So
Gotcha.
she said more or less that we were already on the right page and our right track.
Okay, because the description I have says that it would identify indicators of district progress towards goals and compliance with board policy and develop a district monitoring calendar. Is that old, or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be, it's not what we're looking at that Laura sent to us that's attached
Okay,
to the memo, so.
Okay. great,
Could be old,
thank you.
yeah.
But yes, I would be in favor of
Okay.
either one.
I think the reflect, respond, and recover one seems to be the one that I would like to do first. I'm happy to commit time to it. I'm also open to understanding the time that we've been investing in a lot of other things. So I'm flexible, and with the new school year on the horizon, I wouldn't mind pushing it back a little bit. But I'm open to it if it's sooner too. So
Okay.
I can make it happen.
Christine?
Definitely supportive. Would just, request that we look at timing to make sure that we're not overloading ourselves in any given other busy time for the board. And I like the 3 hours. I think that would be a great one for us to do. How long are these, did we say? And I didn't have my
I
listening
don't
ears
remember
on.
if she said.
I know the one we did was
It was
3 hours,
It was like
maybe?
a 3-hour meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's open session?
Yes.
So we'd call a special board meeting for it?
Can you explain why, because we didn't do the other one in open session.
Because the other
Is
one's,
that different?
the other one's a board self-evaluation, so where we talk about how we work together and all those other processes. This is just a workshop, like you would have a budget workshop, or you would have a
Right, I got it.
strategic goals,
There's instruction as opposed to,
right.
gotcha.
Jessica?
I'm definitely in support of a workshop, and I feel like through the reflection process, we might enter conversation about community engagement anyway with that, so, because I was interested in both.
Okay. So that's 4 for the 3 Rs, so we'll move forward with that, and we'll work on getting dates from her that'll work. You have some dates,
I
right?
do have dates in both October and November. We can walk through them right now if you want, or I can survey the board another way.
Or just
Survey
survey
the
us,
board?
yeah.
I'll be happy to.
Okay,
I'll send them out to you. You'll identify which ones you can do.
okay.
Okay.
Topics for future agenda items.
Yeah. So, next board meeting, you should expect a presentation about our equity audit. We have received the audit back. Actually, Amy and I met with Yvette Dubiel, who was our auditor, and she will be very pleased to come to our next board meeting to share the results with you. I will note that because of all of the work she does in school districts and other pieces of equity work that she does, she travels a lot. And so she doesn't have time on her calendar to come in person for quite some time. She is, however, available to come to us virtually at the next board meeting or the one in September, the first one in September. So as long as the board is okay with her coming in virtually, you'll still have an opportunity to ask her questions. We'll just have to do it, through a Google Meet format. So that is the main topic of our next board meeting. And I believe actually that's all I have at this time for the next board meeting.
Okay, can I ask to add one, if it's okay with the rest of the board? I know we had a few emails to go back and forth regarding the EPA Clean School Bus Program. If we can just have an update at that for the next meeting, so we can find out
Absolutely.
where that is.
Absolutely. Yes.
Anybody else have anything to add?
One more piece to mention, I'm sorry about the next board meeting. We also have a Finance Committee meeting on August 10th, so that'll be at 5:30 for the Finance Committee meeting, correct? Yeah. And then 6:30 for the regular meeting. And again, we will be in our new space.
Christie, did you want to say something? I saw your hand on the button at first. Nope, okay. All right. We're back up to public comment. Anybody sign up? No? Okay. Then we do have a closed meeting tonight, or closed session tonight. So I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second?
Nash. Miller.
Aye.
Mack.
Aye.
Albert.
Aye.
Weedman.
Aye.
And Braden.
Aye.
Okay. We do not expect to take any action coming out of the closed session meeting tonight. We'll be just closing the meeting after we're done in there. And have a good night.